What's up, everybody? Gavin Reshaw presents. I'll get right to it. Yeah, I said the Saints were going to win 16-14. 14-12 was a bad. It was a win, and it was not the most pretty of wins, but I'll take it. 16-14 was the score, if I'm correct. Yeah. I'm not going to be talking about the Saints this much. If you want that, that'll be at a later time. They will win, by the way. But this time I want to talk to you about something different. We're getting back into it with the book Gavin Reshaw Presents and Hurricane Katrina. I got off the phone last week sometime. I spoke to a lady who worked with the LRA. I won't name her name at this point. But she confirmed basically the stuff that I said in my book, Eyes Have Not Seen, Ears Have Not Heard, that there was mass gentrification. They're still going on, by the way, to get rid of the black population in New Orleans, to decrease the population, because these facts. Number one, New Orleans is was at one point, it is the largest city in the state of Louisiana, but it was 75% black. That number has now decreased, from what I understand, to 51% or 55%. Now, what they look at when they talk about the city coming back and so forth, they're looking at it from, first off, who does those polls? Because polls may interview 10 people or 15 people, and based on that assumption, they'll do it for everybody by saying two-thirds out of these people say that New Orleans is coming back and they love the recovery 5 years after Katrina. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans, because I'd like for them to tell me that and tell my family that who've been living in Baton Rouge for the last 5 years. But in most other families, first of all, there are less than over 100,000 of those families that were there pre-Katrina that have not come back. And that most of them who are coming back are people that work in the city but also live outside the city, like Jefferson Parish and the West Bank and so forth. Those areas, that's the metropolitan area of New Orleans in general. But let me share this information with you. What she told me, she worked at LRA, the Louisiana Recovery Authority, and she's actually witnessed this stuff going on. She actually witnessed these people actually purposefully trying to keep blacks out of the city, taking money from themselves, and it's just confirmed if you read the New Orleans Tribune, or if you read any article, you'll find, just Google it, that Louisiana Recovery Authority, the Road Home Program, discriminates against blacks. I called this back in 2006 when they first started it, and when my people in my family had to go through it. I called it already being a conspiracy to keep blacks out because of the handlings that they were doing. For example, you have billions of dollars put in to give people back home, yet you only give them a fraction of it, a very small piece of crust, not a piece of the pie, a piece of the crust, which is, let's say, they may give them $25,000. But what they don't tell you, they could have cut more than that, not only more than that, but there were provisions in the money. Like, we'll give you more money provided you raise your home 5 feet. So you elevate, we'll give you $100,000 if you elevate your home, and it might cost half that or more to do all of that. You're not talking about repairs. You're not talking about electrical equipment. You're not talking about gas, and also the fact you got to live there. You know, your job. A lot of these people who have not come back lost their jobs in Katrina, in the flood. So how do you take care of that? How do you help those people come back? What do you do to provide jobs? If you ever read a book, guys, there's a book by Michael Eric Dyson, who I based my book on as a reference. I used him as a reference. Come Hell or High Water, and he talked about the saying white flight. How whites, when they leave one city, they leave a city, they go to the suburbs, and the property value decreases on that area. And when the property value decreases, they come back and they get it back for a cheaper price, and then raise the price, and then everything, price of living goes up. Excuse me. This happened in New Orleans, and it's still happening. Uh, the whites that there were majority whites that lived in New Orleans East before blacks lived out there. There still are whites that live out in an area called Venetian Isles, which is on Chef Pass. An area was home to a lot of the boating industry, people that own, their boats, the shrimp. Uh, you could do a lot of stuff there. You still can in some parts. They've returned. Others still look like it was wiped out by the hand of God. But uh, yeah, New Orleans East was majority white at one point, and I remember this as a kid, how a lot of the businesses were leaving sometime once when Mark Morial became mayor. Because when Morial became mayor, the mall basically became, desolate. There was only but one store in it. When it had four major stores, uh, you know, there was no quality. There was not even quantity. So there was so something was going on, and now that I look at it and from the information I've told you all, I don't believe that it was just an accident or just by Mother Nature. What if this was all by design? And I'll stop and leave it right there. I'll share more about the road home and also some more information. And once again, Gavin Renshaw presents. Talk to y'all later.